been talking about this for quite some time, especially on my Urdu channel, that this radical Hindu movement, or this Hinduization or Talibanization, Hindu version, or Pakistanization of India is not a good news for anyone. I've heard all kinds of excuses from people in India who first say, well, let us just tame these Muslims first and then we'll fix it later. Oh, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So Muslims have done this to us for thousands of years. Therefore, now we just, have to do this. Bigotry can never be defended. And you can never justify any bigotry based on what happened hundreds of or thousands of years ago. You can never justify it. Each century brings its own flavor, its own set of values, and you just have to deal with it. So this revivalist movement in India, we've seen occasional, and when I talk about this to the majority of non-Indian Westerners, they would think that, oh yeah, India is a culturally rich country. They have colors, Bollywood, beautiful food, beautiful people, all of that. A lot of poverty too. That's a stereotype as well. But other than that, they'll be like, yeah, it's good. Okay, I wouldn't mind going there. I wouldn't mind taking a photo in front of a Taj Mahal or something. That's the general picture. But India is changing very rapidly. And there's a huge liberal tradition in India. There are lots of liberal-minded, secular-minded, democratic Indians, but there's a significantly, rapidly growing Hindutva movement. Now, I've been told that Hindutva, I'm careful not to use that word, so I would say a radical Hindu movement. They demand Hindu Rashtra, meaning Hindu Republic of India. They want to turn that into that. And in the process, they are radicalizing their youth. Just like everywhere else, they're saying to the world and to their own youth, first of all, obviously they're starting at home, that you need to be proud of yourself. You need to be proud of your ancient culture. Our ancestors invented this, and the Westerners, they blame everything to the West, or they blame the Muslims or the West for everything bad that happened in India. Okay, yes, things are complicated. Yes, there was an Islamic invasion. A lot of Hindus were killed. Yes, India was colonized. A lot of bad shit did happen in India. But this is the 21st century. Modern India is supposed to be a secular, democratic India, where all citizens in the eyes of the law are equal. But under Prime Minister Modi, I'm sorry, I have to say this, it's changing very rapidly. A US report now has listed significant human rights abuses in India. This report just came out a couple of days ago. Now, the annual US report on human rights practices released on Monday listed significant human rights abuses in India, including reported targeting of religious minorities, dissidents, and journalists, the US State Department said. Now, the findings come nearly a year after Secretary of State Anthony Blinken said the US was monitoring what he described as a rise in human rights abuses in India by some government, police, and prison officials in a rare direct rebuke by Washington of the Asian nations' rights record. Now, this is very rare. The United States does not really call out India as explicitly as Anthony Blinken did a year ago, and now this report. I know when Anthony Blinken said that a year ago, there was hoo-ha in India. It's like, oh, you Americans, yeah, what did you do in Iraq, blah, blah, blah. Typical Indian trolley reaction. I get it. But I've always been saying that the way India has been respected in the world, India has been respected for its secular constitution, its pluralistic nature, its colorful nature, Bollywood, and its culture, basically. Holi, Diwali, all of that. The soft side of India is beautiful. And the whole world has respected that, but that's not happening anymore. This is changing rapidly. This is what we call the Talibanization of India. It's happening very rapidly. What do you think the world sees when we see that some stone pelters are rounded up by the police officials. They do not follow any due process of law. They go to their houses that are built, quote unquote, illegally. They just demolish them. No court orders, no nothing. A 15-year-old kid pelted stones. You go there and you demolish the whole house, render his whole family homeless. Majority of those cases have happened against Muslim houses. We've seen cases, and now, sorry, my point was that the United States does not usually call out India like that because India is a secular democracy. United States want to support India because United States want to support India when it comes to a conflict with China. China is not a democracy. China is not a secular free country. India is. But this becomes more and more difficult for the West to respect India, even though, let me add you, India is a very proud country. They don't even want to go in the Western camp. There's so many issues. That's why India did not support the West in this Russian conflict with Ukraine. India always wants to stand alone and proudly, given that India is a big country. But the United States wants India on its side, but this kind of thing is not looking good. So what do I mean by that? This radicalization of India. Have a look at this. We've seen videos of we've seen videos of Muslims harassing anything that is Western in nature. You know, like, oh, you want to wear jeans? Ah, haram. You want to, whatever that is, anything Western, Muslims say, whoa, haram. You would think that all Indians wouldn't be like that. Bollywood, I've seen girls wearing, girls driving cars and wearing modern clothes. There's nothing wrong with that. But this is what happens when radicalization hits your home. We've seen Hindus, radical Hindus, harassing couples from celebrating Valentine's Day. They even came up with an idea as Cow Hug Day. Let's hug a cow instead of celebrating Valentine's Day because it's not Indian. It's not even anti-Indian. It's just not Indian. So why should we celebrate it? We have our own rich 5,000-year-old culture. So why should we not be proud of our own culture? Our ancestors, after all, invented the internet and the MRI machine and the first head transplant surgery. Why shouldn't we? So here's a video where a mob. Sorry, here's this video where a mob is harassing some young people outside nightclubs and saying, you cannot be. These guys should be going to a nightclub themselves. Just have fun, drink, enjoy, party, or stay at home if you don't like it. But these guys, last week I played a video, maybe not on my English show, but another show, where these people were harassing missionaries or just preaching Christianity, the message of Jesus, whatever. We don't believe in Jesus, but still, that is the radicalization of India. And soon, you will start seeing these people. If you're sitting in front of a Chinese restaurant or an Italian restaurant, these people would say, don't go there. This is anti-Indian. It's got nothing to do with India. Why can't you eat Indian food? Why can't you eat a biryani or a gulab jamun? Actually, biryani has Mughal as well. There's some Mughal blood in that too. So this is why I hate overly glamorized cultures and traditions, because I think it creates this hubris. I think it creates this false sense of pride in people that gives them this sense of superiority complex that we are better than the rest. And we, screw everyone else. This is us. And that's just the ugly side of it. And you're going to see a lot more of that. Yes, India is huge. I always say this, India is huge. These are just few people. Yeah, what am I saying? The idiots. Yes. But the first thing you guys should be doing instead of cursing me is saying, yes, these people are terrible. And we will make sure that this number remains a small number. That's what people should be saying. And people, I'm not, being a, what's the word when you overly alarm someone, fear mongering. I'm not being a fear monger here. I'm simply pointing out these things that can happen and blow out of proportion. I still have a feeling it will happen. And that shouldn't happen. That's not a good look for India.
I saw there's a police with them.
Yeah, the police obviously came, because the bar had called the police as well, and they're like, "What's going on?" So these guys were saying, "We're protesting. We're protesting. You shouldn't be. Young people shouldn't be going to nightclubs. This is anti-Indian."
Would there be any get into any legal trouble or
no? I don't think so. No.
Wait, because I saw the cop was escorting them inside. Or was he just moving them away? Or like that doesn't make any sense. I don't understand what you're saying.
So the cop.
I think there should be easier for people to sue these people or for harass or charge them with harassment.
When no case is registered as no one filed a complaint, the police have said that. So yeah. So they called the police. Police did come, but no one filed a complaint.
Yeah, but there needs to be a bigger resistance. Like I think you've given them too much power in India. Like people are intimidated. There needs to be a back. I think these people are cowards. As soon as there's a reaction, they will realize that this is not just a risk-free thing for them to do, because right now there is no consequences to what they're doing.
There's always a little bit of a balance, Armin. There's always a little bit of a balance because people are still worried because these guys sometimes aren't affiliated with certain organizations like Bajrang Dal, like RSS, or where people are intimidated. Now, as a businessman, you don't want this problem. They would have said, "Oh, look, sir, please let it go, sir. These are young people. We're doing business. It's okay, sir. Okay, we'll give you some money. Who knows? They just want to go, give them hush money or just something like just. Nobody wants trouble. Businessmen don't want trouble.
Well, if you just let them do this, then you're going to get more trouble. There needs to be a reaction.
Yeah, well, I guess it needs a bigger reaction, but who? Yeah, why? What can you do?
It's a non-violent protest. It's a harassment of a business and its customers.
Yeah.
Okay,
that's a Tony reaction I talk about.
Yeah. No, this is not a protest. A protest means that you go into the street and you have a request for politicians or if you go harass a business, that's not even a protest. That this is
harassment.
It's harassment, and also you're liable for the loss of their income.
Business.
So this is business. So this is both criminal and a civil law issue. So they should be able to sue you and sue you out of your money. They're like, it's a violent protest. You don't understand the meaning, John. You don't understand the meaning of protest. That's not a protest. That's harassment of a business. Get my best-selling book, Why There Is No God, for free. Click on the link for it in the description.